Welcome everyone to the Selling Intelligence Podcast, where revenue leaders learn how to navigate the AI era with clarity and confidence. I'm Mark Pisciuzzi, your co-host.
And I'm KK Anderson. Join us each week as we break down the strategies, decisions, and execution moves that are driving growth in today's market.
Welcome everyone to Selling the Cloud, the podcast where we decode the art and science of B2B selling in the ever-evolving world of SaaS. I'm your co-host, Mark Pisciuzzi.
And I'm KK Anderson, excited to join you on this journey where each week we explore the strategies, insights, and experiences of some of the most innovative thought leaders in the world of sales today.
Welcome to Selling the Cloud. Our guest today is Cherilynn Castleman, an enterprise sales leader turned strategic coach and Harvard instructor as well. She helps teams become trusted advisors with practical AI fluency and relationship skills. She also builds accessible learning at scale as a Udemy creator. Her course, Smart Tips, Sales, Master Relationships Driven Selling via AI, is super highly rated and available via Udemy Business. Her programs focus on outcomes you can see on Monday morning: better discovery, cleaner deal strategy, clear next steps. She has coached thousands of sellers and leaders, lifted promotion rates through hands-on coaching, and built a large learning community through weekly live sessions and workshops. She teaches simple operating rhythms that free time for customer conversations rather than adding more dashboards. And she's on a mission to equip 1 million women in sales and leadership with the fluency, confidence, and playbooks to thrive. Here are 3 topics we'll cover today. AI fluency as a daily mindset. How to use AI to amplify strengths and turn prep into a repeatable routine that shows up every day in results. Relationship selling and the science of trust. The questions and behaviors that build credibility fast with modern buying groups. And leading as a CRO in a time of extremely rapid change. How to focus the team, communicate change, improve impact without adding any additional noise. Cherilynn, we're so happy and proud to have you here. Welcome to Selling the Cloud.
Thank you, Mark. Thanks, KK. I'm thrilled to be here today.
All right, we're gonna take you right into our first topic. And our first question is, you frame AI as an amplifier for what sellers already do well. If a CRO asked you to install AI fluency in 30 days, what would reps and managers need to do each day and each week? And what early results would you expect by, say, week 4?
So first of all, I would start with a 15-minute AI prep session for every rep. I would have them spend 15 minutes asking AI, first of all, one, to develop a POV, a point of view, which I know we're going to talk about a little bit later. For each of their clients, it's something they can do very quickly to triangulate and develop their opinion, because as you have sales reports from LinkedIn and Salesforce told us that 87% of B2B buyers expect us to show up as trusted advisors, meaning we have to have a POV. So use AI to develop your POV. Second of all, spend 5 minutes using it to look around the corner. Where is my industry going? Where is my product going? Where is my company going? If you ask those questions every morning, you're going to get insights. And the final thing is, what can I do better? What am I missing? So for example, I'll say, how can I be a better coach? How can I connect better with my audience? What is a new training insight I can try? What's a new engagement I can use on Zoom? I am every day getting better. They spend 15 minutes every day amplifying what they already do. They're going to accelerate deals. Number 2, I would encourage managers to add to their weekly minutes, teach me something in 5 minutes. Have every rep teach something to the rest of the team once a week. That means by the end of 4 weeks, your team has learned 5 AI insights. Over the course of a year, they will learn 50 AI insights. And I had a client who was in the middle of the pack as a manager for a Fortune 100 fintech company, and she became the #1 sales manager of the year within 6 months just by doing that one exercise. That will free up, and what you will see is you will see about 30 minutes a day freed up from your reps. That 30 minutes, if you have 50 reps and they're doing about $100,000 per deal, and they're doing one deal a month, if you take that math out, that will give you an additional $4.5 million in new revenue and no additional headcount.
Wow. It's really fascinating when you put it that way and you break it into numbers.
Yeah, and that is one of the biggest takeaways I think that sales leaders and chief revenue officers can look at is when we first started using AI, people were talking about how to use it for email and how to sound better. And what the most recent research is coming out is you have to apply what I call ICB, insights, context, business impact. How is it driving revenue? How is it saving you money? How is it increasing operational efficiency? How is it increasing your ROI? Those are the questions that leaders want to start asking every single week. This is what my reps are doing. How is that making me money, making me more money, or saving me?
And it's interesting because you need the leaders, the L1s and the L2s, asking AI those questions and using the data to get smarter. But the sellers as well, like you said, use it to look around the corner, research your competition, your customers. And we know and have known for a long time that our customers are much smarter when they get to us. They know more about our product than we probably do.
It used to be there were a couple months ago, we had about 79% usage. Today, B2B sellers are 98% using AI. Customers are 100% using AI. So your customers are using AI 100%. They know your company. They know your competitors. They know your product. They probably have done more research than you have. So that's why you have to show up with a POV. You have to connect with them. You have to build trust with them. People want to do business with people they know, like, and respect, period. And we can leverage AI to do that.
And so where I was going to go next was I kind of thought people were getting over this idea that AI is cheating until I was in the car with my kids, of all people. And one of my daughter's friends was like, AI is cheating. I can't believe AI. Like, it's just not fair. And it's interesting. Do you hear that still in your trainings and your classes that people feel like it's a cheat?
Absolutely. And with a lot of women, Harvard did it. There was an article that was recently said how AI is impacting women's career. And they discovered that women use AI in business 10 to 40% less than men. And when they asked them what was the real reason, women said, because it's cheating. And so I tell people, just reframe it. I said, take what you already do well. What is your superpower? What is the one thing that you're better at, then AI will never replace. AI will never replace your authenticity, your ability to care, your ability to connect with people, and ask AI to help you elevate that, to amplify that. Take 15 minutes in the morning and say, I'm a great listener. How can I be better? I ask great discovery questions. How can I do better? I'm meeting with this client. We don't seem to connect. How can I connect better with this type of client? My client's very analytical, or very amiable, or very expressive. A trick that I tell people is write a simple email and then ask AI, rewrite this for an analytic, rewrite this for an expressive, rewrite this for a driver, and rewrite this for an amiable. They're different as night and day. That alone will help you connect with your clients, just reframing that. Another example is if you go to LinkedIn, go to the three dots, and it says PDF this profile. PDF the profile, attach it to the AI tool that you're using, and say, reframe this email specifically for this person. And it will say, oh, they're very innovative. They're very amiable. They're very analytical. And it will reframe it. You will connect with them. That's the power of AI and connecting with people.
All right, well, that's very cool. So please help us to make this a little more Monday ready. Let's say a rep has a discovery call this afternoon with a new account. Walk through the 15-minute AI assisted prep that produces, in your mind, the most useful point of view for the call and how you coach them. How do you coach them to bring that into the conversation? We've discussed a little bit this here, but take us a little deeper if you would.
Absolutely. So what I always coach my clients to do is to triangulate your POV. It's something that AI, a generative AI tool, does so well. So first of all, research your client. Pull down their LinkedIn profile. If they're an executive, pull their bio, and that's number one. So you want to triangulate. You want three things: industry, company, person, or persona. So if you can't find the person, do a persona. Pull down several CFOs in that industry. Pull down, if they're a Gen Z, pull down Gen Zs in that industry, in that job role. So the better you can micro segment. If you can't do the person, do the persona. That's number one. Number two is company. My favorite company document for publicly traded companies is a 10K. Form 10K, as your listeners know, I'm sure, comes from the Security Exchange Commission. You can get it on the investors page of any publicly traded company. And the third one is an industry analysis. My favorite place to get it is Value Line. Value Line is free on every public library. If you work for a large enterprise company, they have this information for you. They have an industry analysis. They have company analysis. Pull it in and ask AI to triangulate this for you. And it will pull the three together and develop a POV. And then you just say to somebody, Mark, if I said to you, I have an idea I want to run by you, what would you say? People say, yeah. Nobody's going to say no to an idea. And that's all it is an idea. Even if you're wrong, you get credibility because you showed up with an idea. So show up with an idea. This takes 15 minutes. This used to be an 8-hour workshop that I did on how to research and how to read a 10K. Value Line has the ratios in there. So it can pull in, it has the ratios in there for 3 years. It will do a financial analysis POV. It will do an expressive one, any way that you want it. 15 minutes.
And then you take that information and you turn it into a value hypothesis for what outcomes your customer wants to achieve and what's going to get in the way and how you can help.
Right. So if it's a first interview, those are the three things. If it's a second interview, I include the discovery document with it. And whether you are going into a meeting and saying, I have an idea to run by you, and you're starting your meeting that way, or you're sending a follow-up email, or you're going into your solutioning, or you're doing a demo, it doesn't matter. You always want to show up with your opinion. I'm the trusted advisor. I have an opinion, and that's what it is. And you could say, how does this land with you? Or this is what I'm discovering in the industry. How does this resonate with you? You're asking their opinion, but you're showing up with somewhere to start other than just with open-ended questions.
We could stay on this topic forever. Let's move on to the second topic, though, relationship selling and the science of trust. And what's interesting is I was listening to a podcast just this morning about how, thanks to AI, right? And you see it every day. You scroll LinkedIn and it's like emojis and M dashes, and it's just a bunch of ChatGPT trash. Noise. Let's call it noise. I wouldn't say all of it is trash, right? And people are used to seeing that now. And so it's like the trust continuum is getting longer than it used to be. Like it used to be, like if you had a really slick website, somebody dropped 10 grand to build a really slick website, or way more than that, right? You used to be, and now an AI tool can turn that on in 30 seconds flat. And so it's harder for people out there to know who they can trust and what's real and what's not real. And so you teach that trust shows up in what we ask and in how we listen. And AI is making that harder. How do you balance that? Like, how have you added that whole dynamic and that change into your teachings and your coaching?
So the first thing that I do is I ask my clients to pause for a second and tell me, what is it about their client that they really care about? You have to give a damn about your client. There's no AI tool out there that's ever going to do that. And that's where you start. So if you really care about your client and you pause and say, what is it you care about? What is it that's important to them? And if you don't know, that's the first place you start, because that's what you have to start from, is you have to care about your client and what's important to them. Once you care about them, you can craft discovery questions that are high connection questions. And for example, and AI can help you do this. And again, it's a tool to amplify and elevate you. So Dr. Jane Dutton at the University of Michigan has done a lot of research on high quality connections, HCQ. If you go in and ask AI to reframe your discovery questions as high quality connection questions, what you're going to do is you're going to trigger what I like to call the love hormones. It is the oxytocin. It triggers it triggers the hormones that makes clients trust you, like you, want to do business with you. For example, I had a client who was in the financial services industry, and she used to ask her clients, tell me about your insurance policies or your insurance that you have. You know how you feel when somebody asks you that. Her second appointment rate was around 17%. When she asked AI to reframe that, the question was, what is it about insurance that scares you? Can you see that just that little switch there makes somebody connect with you? I have another client, she's a career coach, and she used to say, tell me where you want to be in 3 to 5 years. And she was coaching women, and AI suggested that she ask, when was the last time you cried at work? Because if you're a woman and you're going to look for a coach, it's probably because something is upsetting you to tears. And so you can ask little questions that just connect with people. I have a client that she sells data to. All of her clients are data scientists, and she said, Cherilyn, data scientists don't have feelings. I can't ask questions. And I said, humor me. Just for 1 week, let's just try it. She came back, and her clients now know her as a data therapist because she started asking them, what does it feel like when your company asks you to change the algorithm real quickly to come up with something? And this frustrates and angers, and they don't have the right data. And so her solution helps resolve this. And she's like, now all my clients want to start with how they feel every time we meet. So she connects with them. She was able to renew more accounts than she ever has just by starting asking those types of questions. So ask better discovery questions. 2 of my favorite ones are either first or finest. What was it like for your first podcast, KK? Can you remember your very first podcast?
Yeah, the instant emotions.
Okay, now, you see the emotion? You see what happens? Versus telling me about what's it like to have a podcast, ask a first question. Or if I asked you, Mark, what was your finest podcast? So first and finest questions are great connections to connect with people. You can make these very technical, very financial, very industry specific and AI can help you do that.
And I know Mark's going to jump in here, but I got to ask one more question. That's brilliant, by the way. I absolutely love that. First and finest. What about in prospecting, like when you're trying to get the meeting? How are you breaking through the AI noise and building trust?
So just bottom line, offer value, offer case studies, offer assessments, offer checklists. People are doing research. People want knowledge. And so I say leverage social proof. AI, anybody can go out in AI and say, I am a great coach, or I'm a great podcaster, or I'm a great strategist. Use LinkedIn or whatever platform you use, or emails, or whatever, however you're doing your outbound, to demonstrate that you can prove you do this. Offer social proof. Here's a case study where I helped a client like you do this. Here's a checklist that I use with my clients. Here's an assessment that you and your team might want to take. I have an AI assessment tool that I give out, and I'm constantly saying, do you want to see where your team is for AI fluency? Take this AI fluency assessment. It is just a free tool. Here's a handout on how to prompt like a pro. Give value. Once you give the value, then I always say, if you have more questions like about this, jump on my calendar. People know how to book meetings today. You don't have to book them. You can wake up every day with new clients on your calendar by offering value and insights. I ended up with a huge client from a major retailer who said she used all my free resources for 6 months, and finally she's like, okay, now we got to bring Cherilyn in. And she just got on my calendar and said, we want to hire you. It's just that quickly. And so that's what it is. The trust is there. Here, give value. Stop saying, hi, I read your post and let's have a meeting. Don't ask for meetings. Just give value. And again, if you can't think of what to give away, AI can help you come up with tools, resources. You have case studies. I've got clients who've gotten job offers and ended up earning 6 figures more than they ever had just by posting case studies on LinkedIn. Here's what I did with a client anonymously. Here's what I did with a top 10 airline. Here's how I helped them and the percentage I helped them, did the case study. And I had a woman, the chief revenue officer called her and said, I want you to come in and be my head of sales, and went around HR and didn't even look at her resume. It's like, whatever you did with that client, I want you to do that for us, because it's proof. And so social proof helps you do that.
Right on. Cherilyn, so you've taken us through some of the things that you want to say and things that add value to the full discussion early on. Let's talk a little bit about things that you want to make sure you don't say, or things that could actually trigger things like buyer defensiveness. And in general, like what 2 behaviors that do you see that you can then do to lower that threat and increase that openness right away?
So one of the things that I call is, don't be cringy. Okay, there's so much information out there. It is so easy to take someone's information and abuse it. Don't do that. Don't just treat people the way you want to be treated. So number one is don't be cringy. Don't take the data. Don't share somebody's information. Be respectful. Be kind. If given a choice between right and kind, choose kindness. Just always be kind. I always say a fool with a tool is still a fool. There are fools out there with AI. Just because you have AI doesn't mean that you have to abuse it. Be ethical. Stop and think about, does this make sense? Is this ethical? The other thing is you will know if you're not triggering the trust and the love hormones, you're triggering their amygdala. And what happens when you trigger the amygdala is you see fight, flight, fawn, or freeze. If you're seeing any of those with your clients, they're fighting with you, they're arguing with you, they are freezing, they are not showing up, they are stalled, they're fawning. You ever ask a client a question and they sit there and they look at you? Well, they are fawning. That's where they are. Or they just ghost you. Any of those say, okay, I've done this. It's time to stop. And AI is a great tool. I tell people, open a Word document, dictate just in your own voice what happened, and ask AI to help you analyze it and say, what did I do wrong? What could I have done better? What made my client freeze? And learn from it. Another thing I see is that you mentioned it. So people try to sound more intelligent or more technical. And how do you feel when you're around people with pretense? How do you feel when you go to that Thanksgiving or holiday meal and your in-laws or somebody has a girlfriend or boyfriend with them and they're just putting on airs? Everybody knows it. They can't stand it. Well, we don't want to do business with people like that. So the best way to be authentic and have your authentic voice come through is to just dictate. I use Word because it's not intimidating. I tell people just go into Word, hit the dictate, and just dictate the email. Dictate the script, dictate what you want to do, and then drop that in. AI will use your words, they will use your intonations, and then you will sound like who you are. So those are a couple ways to avoid triggering the amygdala and have somebody go into fight, flight, freeze, or fawn for you.
I'm a big follower of Rory Vaden. I don't know him. He runs Brand Builders Group, and he wrote the book Take the Stairs.
Oh, okay.
And he says, and I feel like I've been quoting this every day. He says that in today's age, your humanness is now your uniqueness because everything else is AI generated. Like you have to leverage your humanness as your uniqueness. That authenticity is now even more than ever, paramount. Okay.
It is.
So buying groups are larger, they're complex. Very often in these times, leaders who used to have decision-making authority now have to get the CFO involved and they're more constrained than they've ever been. So how are, on this theme of building trust and authenticity and triggering the love hormones, I love that, by the way. How do you do that when you've got a buying group that's constantly changing? Like you're halfway through your sales process, you have a meeting to negotiate or talk about terms of something, and then next thing you know, boom, the CFO is there and you've never met him before. Like what are your kind of tips on that?
So a couple things. So first of all, I always ask at the beginning of any meeting, whoever's there, because like you said, buying committees are much larger. They used to be 3 to 5 people. Today, they can be 12 to 18 people on a buying committee. Regardless of how large the buying committee is, at the very beginning, always go into the meeting asking each and every one, if you could get one thing out of this meeting, what do you want out of this meeting? Because that may change the direction of the meeting. So you don't want to guess where the CFO could be there because they're looking for operational efficiency, cost savings. They could be there because they're looking to drive revenue. They could be looking to improve the pipeline. You don't know why they're there. So I always ask, even if there are 15 people in the room, I'll take 15 minutes and say, real quickly, what's one thing you want out of this meeting? And I note those down. Now I have the direction of the meeting. That's number one. Number two, do your homework and do, like I said, so do a POV for the chief marketing officer, do a POV for the CFO, do a POV so that you have those. So you're not changing the agenda, you're just changing the lens. And number three, executives want to talk about numbers. Develop your financial fluency. Understand what the key numbers are. Are they interested in what's driving revenue? And be able to tell stories. And the stories, again, is the insight. What is the number? What does this number mean? And where is this number going? How will it impact us in the future? So is it the cost of acquisition? Is it the cost? Is it the client life cost of maintaining the lifetime value of that client? So know those numbers and be able to speak to them. And one other tip I always tell people, when a CFO is in the room, take your numbers out 3 digits. Never say 50 million. Say 47.2 million. Know your numbers by 3 digits. CFOs will dismiss you if you round your numbers as a salesperson. So
That's a good
know
tip.
your numbers. I'm sorry, what?
I said that's a good tip.
Yeah, if you talk to CFOs, they'll tell you, I hate it when somebody says 15%, because nothing is exactly 15%. It's 14.7 or 15.2. So know your numbers, know them out 3 digits, know your numbers, and tell financial stories with them where you can talk about the insight from the numbers, the context, and what it means to the business, and be able and have a financial point of view in your back pocket, so that you're just changing the lens, you're not changing your agenda.
Well, Cherilynn, that is also, it's like speaking with someone who's bilingual and, speaking in the language that they maybe struggle with the whole time and maybe touching it for a second. They are bilingual, and one of the items is numbers. It has to be. So that makes a lot of sense. All right, let's move to topic 3, leading as a CRO in a time of intense change. So every team nowadays says they are AI enabled or AI first. Everyone's sales and marketing stack just looks very similar. So from the seat of the CRO, what actually differentiates leadership right now, in your opinion? Could you give us 2 or 3 weekly behaviors you expect to see in the numbers of a CRO that is leading well?
Yeah, so a couple of things. I think that if a CRO is demonstrating curiosity with AI, they are using AI, they are sharing with their team. This is what I did. I was working with a CFO for a huge company recently, and they do a pricing exercise. And they normally would sit down for a couple weeks and work on this pricing exercise. And I challenged them to open AI and pull their data into their proprietary system. And in 30 minutes, they had done the entire exercise. And so he was like, oh, wow, everybody's going to be impressed. I said, no, it's transparency. Tell them you used AI to do it. Demonstrate, model that you're curious. If you fail, talk about that. So number 1, they're modeling curiosity. 2, it's a discipline. They're using it on a daily basis. They're talking about it on a daily basis. There are somewhere between 50 and 200 new AI tools every day. When you look at go-to-market tools, there are somewhere between 7 and 10 new tools every day. There's no way you can master the tools. Stop chasing the tools. It's a mindset. It's about confidence and clarity. The next thing that I would say is that protect the selling time. Look at your meetings and make them very efficient. Get them down to 30 minutes. The goal is most sellers sell about 10 hours a week. You want to get your sellers to 15 to 20 hours a week. And so where you're going to see this, you're going to see a cleaner pipeline. You're going to see higher exec meetings. And so those are things you want to measure, is not just meetings, but exec meetings, decision maker meetings. It will shorten the sales cycles, and you'll have fewer surprises at the end of the quarter.
So good. I was just on a coaching call just before this podcast episode, actually, and was coaching a new seller that was joining the team and was asking about the hustle and the grind and around hunting. And so we popped open ChatGPT and we put in the overall team's average deal size, average win rates, sales cycles. And he figured out that he needs to make 6,700 calls in the first 6 months to be able to get the number of opportunities in his pipeline to be successful. And he was like, what? 6,700 calls. And so, but you break it down into a daily rhythm and you break it down into who you're targeting. And you can use AI for those things to get smarter and hone in your offers based on personas and POVs. Like it's interesting.
It is. And the other thing is that the goal, so I think Mark mentioned this. We're opening emails and we're like, yep, AI wrote that. Yep, AI made. And so what I challenge people to do is, yes, you have to do your volume, but what if you spent 15 to 30 minutes every day sending a couple better emails where you actually, and then yes, if you sent a humanized email. I love it when every once in a while I get an email and I'm like, yes, this lands. We all know what those feel like. Yeah. Well, learn to send those kind of emails. And if you're not sure, I tell people email them to yourself and then open it on your phone. If you won't open it on your phone with the subject line and the first sentence, why would anybody else? So send it to yourself, look at it, and yes, get your numbers in, but spend time figuring out how to craft better emails and micro segment, because once you've done your micro segmenting, you can do emails to Gen Z, Gen Y, Gen Alpha. You can do it by title, you can do it by industry, West Coast, East Coast. AI will do all that. Do all your micro segmenting, and then you're now doing a more humanized, outbound. And I promise you, you'll hit your numbers and make fewer and send less noise.
More meaningful outreach. Yeah.
Hey,
Okay.
yeah.
So you said something a second ago. You said when Mark was asking about the CRO and leading well, you said less meetings and the meetings that are having the meetings that are meaningful. And nobody likes a meeting. Everybody hates a pipeline call. We know that, right? So like what in today's day and age, what are the non-negotiables? Like, but what gets cut and what changes and what talk to me about that operating rhythm. Is it changing?
So I think it is. So I think that what I encourage people to do is do 30-minute meetings because of AI and technology and Facebook and Instagram and everything. Attention spans are very short. So do a rapid 30-minute meeting. Revenue review, focus on what are blockers, what is getting in the way. Focus on owners, deadlines, next steps. No slides, no noise, no operational. Just I used to call them my quick stand up. I taught my team the rule of three. They had to come in and in 1 minute or less give me three things about this deal that I needed to know, and then end with what's the bottom line up front. Bluff is a military phrase. Bottom line up front, three things, one, two, three, and then conclude with here's what I know, here's what the so what is, or here's a call to action. People come in without slides and give you those updates. You're going to see your pipeline tighten up, and you're not going to have surprises. You're going to have that transparency. And then every meeting must either build a skill or make a decision. How many times you sit in meetings and it's just updates and it's updates and there's nothing? Either we're going in to make a decision or we're going to build a skill.
Yeah.
And like I said, I would do a 30-minute meeting, add that teach me something in 5 minutes at the end. So everybody is learning something every week. And I have teach me something AI. And again, if it rotates, KK is going to teach us her best AI tip this week. Mark's going to teach us next week. And next week, I'm going to teach them. Everybody's best practices. And people are going to learn things so they can teach them.
I love it. Great. So we all know boards and CFOs fund what they can measure. Funding is a big part of, ensuring that you really are able to build the type of capabilities you're looking for and keep those skill sets building. So what three numbers belong on a page one to prove that change is working? And what targets would you make to ensure that you can be confident that the program, the leadership you're bringing to the table is going to create the lift now, this quarter, not quarters from now?
So the three numbers that I would look at, one is cycle time with a warm sponsor versus one without. So if you're doing this right and you're leveraging AI, it's very simple. You just want to say, here's what our cycle time is with a warm sponsor. We're seeing a lift in this. Number two, executive meetings by stage. So when do the executives join, and what stage are you at, and being able to track that, and the win rate on multi-threaded deals. Those are the three things. And what I think you're looking for is somewhere between a 10 and 20% quarter over quarter. That is proof that you are driving change.
Amen. That is proof. Okay, Cherilynn, we are going to go to our favorite section of the podcast. We call it rapid fire.
Okay.
And Mark, I want you to kick us off so that we land on my favorite question on me. You go
You
first.
got it. That's for sure. No worries. Yes, I'll start the first one. What is the first product or service you have ever sold?
Mark, I've been in sales since before Girl Scout cookies were 50 cents a box.
My goodness.
So would it be Girl
Excellent.
Scout cookies?
It'd be Girl Scout cookies. And I mean, I was probably in the first grade. Okay. I was in the first grade, and my brother would pull the wagon, and then there were no order forms. They just gave you cookies and you went and sold them. And I would stand there and I just would say, you say freeze well. What's your favorite ones? Oh, and if you tried this is, and I'm telling you, you put them away, you freeze them, you'll have them at Christmas. And I just upsold, and I was always a top salesperson. And I just loved it. It was just in my, and I was probably 6 years old.
That's amazing. Okay, who is one of your favorite sales or leadership voices that you like to follow?
So I have always followed who he was known as the client success guy, and that was Bill Green, the former CEO of Accenture. He's just made such a change in the way I sold, and Bill always said two things that stuck with me. One, if you criticize people, you raise their defensiveness. If you challenge people, you raise their game. And so that's why I coach and I challenge people. And the other thing he said, Cherilynn, 3 C's: competence, be damn good at your job. Be great at what you do. Confidence, just have confidence, have courage. And the last one, which I've repeated here, is give a damn. Care about your clients, care about your industry, care about your product. He said the 3 C's, well, that is what makes you a great leader. And so I've read and listened to everything that Bill has done.
Right on. So one practice you believe every sales manager should adopt this quarter or maybe even this week?
I say curiosity. AI lets you be curious. I was read in a couple of places that they say curiosity is the KPI for 2026 for sales leaders. So I think if you're going to leverage AI and build your AI fluency, curiosity, just keep asking questions. What can I do better? And also, one of my favorite prompts is, what did I miss? What could I have done better? So even though you've done the prompt, you've done the analysis, stop and say, okay, what did I miss? What am I not thinking about? How can I do this better? So curiosity.
So this may be one way that humanity is evolving a little bit, because they used to say curiosity killed the cat, and now it's not going that way anymore.
You know,
You think about it with AI. There's so much power in curiosity. So I really love that one. Thank you.
yes.
So good. Okay, and my favorite question. Okay, Cherilynn, what advice would you give to your 21-year-old self?
So I would tell myself to trust my voice, trust myself earlier. I would tell myself, if given a choice, Cherilynn, always choose kindness over being right. And the final one is always have the courage, regardless of what anybody else says, just have the courage, have the kindness, and trust yourself.
What is your favorite non-business book?
The Untethered Soul. I read it every year.
Wow.
It makes me pause. It makes me spend a little more time on my rug. It is about self-reflection and choosing love over fear. And I've been reading it every year. I don't know, probably since it came out. I'm a voracious reader, but that is one book that I read every year. I love The Untethered Soul.
And I love that idea of like reading something every year. I've never really, it's not like I haven't read books again, but the idea of having something that's so impactful and rereading it every year is really cool. Well,
When are you going to release your book, Cherilynn? Surely there's one coming.
Well, so I have a book. It was actually top of Amazon's bestsellers for women. It's been recognized by Salesforce, actually one of the top 10 best sales books. And you can go to postpandemicselling.com, and you'll find out it's also on Amazon. It talks about a lot of things we've talked about coming out of the pandemic, why we had to connect with people, why people need us to be authentic and us to be curious, and how to connect with people. It's called What's in the Cards. Post-Pandemic Selling is the name of it. Again, you can get it at postpandemicselling.com. You can also find it on my LinkedIn page or CherilynnCastleman.com, or just connect with me on LinkedIn.
Right.
very cool.
Thank you.
Cherilynn, thank you so much for taking the time with us. This was really a pleasure. And thank you to our amazing audience. I hope I remember that every single time. I don't know if I do, but we want to thank them as well, especially as we're getting, moving in and through the holiday season. So again, Cherilynn, thank you. KK, thanks to you as well.
Thank you, KK. Thank you, Mark. And thank you to your listeners and your audience.
Make sure to check the show notes and to catch Cherilynn's LinkedIn Lives. They're awesome.
Thank you,
Almost
KK.
every week. Okay. Thanks, everybody. We hope you enjoyed this conversation and found it valuable. If you did, like and share it with your network. That's the best way to support us and the work we're doing here at AGS. And if you're curious where your sales team stacks up in the AI era, head to get-ags.com. That's get, and the dash symbol ags.com for a complimentary sales team benchmark. Until next time,